In the next few seconds, you're going to confront a story that could redefine the way you interpret waiting, disappointment, and moments when it feels like God is late. Yes, late. Because if you leave now, you're going to miss the most shocking truth hidden inside one of the most dramatic miracles Jesus ever performed. But if you stay, you'll gain a deeper understanding of timing, purpose, and the revelation that has the power to reshape how you handle every delay in your life. So listen closely, because what happens in this story is not just ancient history. It might be speaking to you right now. The village of Bethany was tense with fear. Lazarus, loved by many, respected by everyone, and deeply cherished by his sisters Mary and Martha, had fallen ill. Not a cold. Not a simple infection, something deadly. Something that made Martha run from room to room, searching for help while Mary stayed by her brother's side, wiping his forehead, whispering prayers that sounded a lot like pleas. There was only one hope left: Jesus, the healer, the teacher, the one who loved their family enough to sit at their table, laugh with them, share meals with them, and teach them truths that stirred the soul. So they sent a message: Lord, the one you love is sick. Not a long explanation. They didn't need to convince him. They knew he cared. They knew he would come. The disciples expected Jesus to rise instantly, pack his things, and rush to Bethany. After all, he healed strangers in the streets. How much more would he hurry to help a close friend? But then something happened that no one expected. When Jesus heard the news, he didn't move. He didn't express alarm. He didn't stand up immediately. Instead, he remained where he was for 2 more days. 2 silent, confusing days. The disciples exchanged glances but didn't dare question him at first. Some wondered if he had misunderstood the urgency. Others thought maybe he planned to heal Lazarus from a distance. But Jesus simply said, "This sickness will not end in death. It is for God's glory." Meanwhile, back in Bethany, every hour mattered. Lazarus' breathing grew shallow. Martha stood at the doorway, waiting for any sign, any dust on the horizon, any traveler walking toward their home, hoping it would be Jesus. Mary refused to leave Lazarus' side. She held his hand until his fingers grew cold, and even then she whispered, "He will come. I know he will come." But he didn't. Not that day, not the next. And then the house fell silent in the way that only a house touched by death can. Lazarus was gone. The sisters' grief filled the air. Neighbors gathered with food, with tears, with questions whispered behind their hands. Where was Jesus? Why didn't he come? For Mary and Martha, the pain deepened with every hour of absence. Every time someone walked up the road, Martha's heart jumped, only to break again when it wasn't him. Lazarus was prepared for burial. According to Jewish customs, the body was wrapped, anointed, and placed in a tomb carved into rock. A stone sealed the entrance. And with that seal came the finality of death. People came and went for days. There were prayers, laments, memories shared by candlelight, and a heaviness that refused to lift. After 4 days, even the faintest hope of a miracle had faded. In Jewish belief, the soul lingered near the body for 3 days, but on the 4th, it departed entirely. There was no possibility left, no loophole, no misunderstanding. Lazarus was dead beyond question. Then, after all hope had decomposed in the tomb, Jesus finally said, "Let us go to Judea." His disciples were stunned. "Rabbi, they tried to stone you there." It was dangerous, illogical, late, but Jesus walked with purpose, not panic. He knew the timing perfectly, even if no one else did. When they reached the outskirts of Bethany, Martha saw him approaching and ran to him. Her steps were quick, but not out of joy, out of deep, aching disappointment. "Lord," she said, with a voice trembling between faith and frustration, "if you had been here, my brother would not have died." These words weren't an accusation. They were the cry of a broken heart. It was as if she were saying, "We trusted you. We believed you. Why didn't you come?" Jesus looked at her with a calm that carried both compassion and authority. "Your brother will rise again," he said. Martha nodded politely, thinking he referred to the resurrection on the last day, something distant, theological. But Jesus wasn't talking about a distant event. He stepped closer, eyes steady, and said words that shook Martha's soul. "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live, even though he dies." These weren't words of comfort. They were a declaration, a revelation. Jesus wasn't claiming to know the way to life, he was claiming to be life itself. Martha's breath caught. Somewhere inside, faith flickered. She ran back to the house to call Mary. "The teacher is here," she whispered, "and he's asking for you." Mary stood up so quickly that the mourners followed her, assuming she was going to Lazarus's tomb to weep again. But when she reached Jesus, she fell at his feet, her usual place of devotion, and repeated the same words her sister had spoken. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Her tears streamed onto the dust at his feet. And here, something extraordinary happened. Jesus, who had walked on water, calmed storms, cast out demons, and spoken with divine authority, began to weep. The crowd murmured, "See how he loved him," while others whispered skeptically, "Couldn't he have kept him from dying?" The pain of humanity touched the heart of divinity. Jesus wasn't late because he forgot or ignored them. He wasn't late because he lacked power. He wasn't late out of indifference. He was moved, deeply moved, but he was also on a mission that required divine timing. He asked to be taken to the tomb. It was a cave with a massive stone blocking the entrance. The mourners gathered behind him, confused, curious, skeptical. Jesus stood before the tomb, the place of endings, and said, "Take away the stone." Martha gasped. "Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. There will be a smell." She was trying to protect him from the harsh reality of death. But Jesus turned to her gently and said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" With trembling hands, the stone was rolled away. The stench of death drifted into the air, and the crowd stepped back in discomfort. But Jesus stepped forward. He lifted his eyes and prayed, not silently, but aloud, so everyone could hear and witness. Then, with a voice that carried authority across eternity, he shouted, "Lazarus, come out!" The entire world seemed to stop for a moment. The air held its breath. The crowd stared into the dark opening of the tomb, and then something moved, a shape, a silhouette. A man wrapped head to toe in burial cloths stumbled into the light. Gasps erupted. Cries pierced the air. Some fell to their knees. Some covered their mouths in disbelief. Lazarus, dead 4 days, was alive. Jesus said, "Unbind him and let him go." As they removed the strips of cloth, Lazarus blinked at the sunlight he had not seen for days. Mary sobbed. Martha trembled. And the crowd spread the story like wildfire. This miracle was so powerful that religious leaders felt threatened. Many believed in Jesus, but others began plotting his death because a man who can resurrect the dead cannot be ignored, controlled, or dismissed. But here's something most people miss. Jesus wasn't late. He was perfectly on time. His delay was not a denial, it was preparation. If he had come when the sisters expected, Lazarus would have been healed. A beautiful miracle, yes, but one they had already seen him do many times. By waiting, Jesus revealed his full identity. Not just healer, not just teacher, not just prophet, but the resurrection and the life. Sometimes the greatest miracles are found on the other side of the longest wait. Sometimes God allows the situation to look completely impossible so that when he moves, no one gets the credit but him. Not your strength, not your resources, not your timing, his glory alone. And maybe what feels late in your life is actually right on time in God's plan. Maybe the relationship that ended, the door that closed, the prayer that seemed unanswered, the dream that died are not the final chapter. Maybe the stone you think is sealing your future is about to be rolled away. Maybe the thing you called dead is only sleeping in the hands of the one who raises the dead. So before you give up on God, remember Bethany. Remember the sisters who thought he was late. Remember the tomb that smelled like death. Remember the voice that broke through darkness and called Lazarus by name. Jesus didn't just resurrect a man. He resurrected hope. And if this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your words might be the lifeline someone else needs. Tap the like button so this message reaches more people. And click the link on your screen to subscribe and keep watching more extraordinary stories from the Bible. Don't leave without joining this journey. There's so much more ahead, and the next story might speak directly to what you're facing right now.